Hey fourth grade, it's Miss Nealy, and today on Digital Learning Day 8, we are going to be going over measurement. We're going to be talking about different ways to measure objects. So the three ways you're going to learn about today is weight, capacity, and length. So you can start by watching this video. It's a really great video. It's called Measurement Mystery. It's by Crash Course Kids, what we love to watch for science. So you guys can go ahead and watch that. You have some practice problems you're going to be doing on the Google Slides. All these slides are available on Google Slides. I'm just doing a mini lesson just like I would in class over these things. And then you're going to get to do some guided practice with me and some practice problems on your own. So I give you some of the answers to the slides as we do them together. So let's start by talking about what weight is. That was a vocabulary word in one of our science units for force and motion. Weight is how heavy something is. So it's that downward force caused by gravity on an object. So gravity is pushing down on something. How heavy that object is weight. And so we ask the question, how heavy is it? And we can use 3 different units of measurement we're going to talk about to measure how heavy something is. So we have ounces, pounds, and tons. Again, this is all on that Google slide. So to kind of give you an idea of the weight of these things, you have a paper clip that you brought home. That paper clip weighs about 1 ounce. That's how much an ounce weighs. So 16 paper clips in theory weigh about 1 pound if you had 16 paper clips. Another way you can figure out what a pound feels like is if you've ever held a kitten before. A kitten weighs about 1 pound or 16 ounces. So the way we abbreviate those are with ounces we can abbreviate it with OZ, and pounds you can see that represented in LB. Finally, we have a giraffe that weighs 1 ton. And so a giraffe weighs about 2,000 pounds. So again, you can use that conversion chart to help you. You don't have to memorize any. Next, we can measure an object's capacity. This is the amount something can hold. So we normally think of containers. So this could be how much liquid can it hold, or it could be how much food it can hold. So these are what we use measuring cups for, is to measure capacity. So if you've ever seen anyone in your family making a meal, they might use measuring cups, and that's measuring how much a container can hold. So I may need a cup of flour. You'll see later this week Miss Nealy is going to make a recipe of something, and you'll get to see capacity and how I use that to help me make accurate measurements. So for capacity, we can use units of measurements of ounces, cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. The cup that you see right there is a measuring cup. And then you have a pint. A pint is like those Powerade sports bottles. I know a lot of people in our class have them. That's equal to 2 cups. So it measures to be about 2 cups. And then you have a quart. A quart is like those big Powerade or Gatorade bottles that you can get. I know when I used to play sports, I would get those when I would have a game. So that's about 2 pints. So that would hold 2 of those sports water bottles. And then finally you have a gallon, and you may have a gallon of milk in your fridge, and that's equivalent to 8 pints. So there's a song, a capacity song, that will help you remember these conversions. Again, you don't have to memorize them, but that song is very helpful and fun to help you remember them. The final way we're going to measure objects in 4th grade is using length. So length is the measurement of distance, so from one point to another. Just like when we had line segments, you can measure line segments. So we're just measuring the distance between 2 points. We use centimeters, inches, foot, and yards to measure these. We're really going to focus on inches, feet, and yards for this unit. When we get into the metric system, because right now we're using the customary system, we'll talk about different units of measurement. So here's your conversion chart. Again, it's in your Google Slides that can help you when we're converting units. You don't have to memorize it. To give you an idea, an inch is about the length of your knuckle to the tip of your thumb. So if you hold your thumb up, your knuckle to the tip of your thumb, that's an inch. Then you have a notebook, and that's about 1 foot. If you have your math journal in front of you, that's about a foot, and it's 12 inches. It's the same thing as a foot. Next, we have a baseball bat, and that's about 1 yard. So if you've played baseball before, it's about 1 yard, and 1 yard is equivalent to 3 feet. And so I know that that would be equivalent to 36 inches because 12 inches is in a foot, and then I need 3 feet, so I'd multiply 3 times 12 to get 36. So I'm going to show you that really quickly. And finally, we have a mile. I know when I was in middle school and high school, we used to have to run miles around a track. Usually the track is around a football field, and a mile is 4 laps around that track. So the first part of your guided practice is to pick the appropriate measurement. So you're going to drag the highlighted square and place it over the correct unit of measurement. Since I'm doing this on my iPad and not Google Slides, I don't have those highlighted boxes like you will, but you're just going to drag them and highlight which unit of measurement would make the most sense or be the most reasonable for what you're measuring. So for number 1, it says what would be the best unit to measure the capacity of a bathtub, so how much a bathtub could hold in, for instance, water. How much water could it hold? So I'm going to scroll back up to where my capacity slide is, and I'm going to look at my units of measurement. So I have a cup, I have a pint, I have a quart, and I have a gallon. Which would make most sense to fill up a bathtub? For me, what makes most sense or would help me fill up the bathtub the fastest is a gallon. So I'm going to scroll back down and I'm going to take my highlighted box, I'm going to highlight gallons. So I want you to try number 2 on your own, and then we're going to go over number 3. Alright, Miss Nealy's going to check number 2 on your Google Slides later today, but number 3 asked me what unit of measurement would be best for the weight of an elephant. So I'm going to scroll to the slide that says weight, and I'm going to look. I have ounces, pounds, and tons, and so Miss Nealy gave you guys some examples. So would I use paper clip, a kitten, or a giraffe? Like those kind of measurements to best measure an elephant. And I know a giraffe is very similar to an elephant, so I'm probably going to use tons being the best unit of measurement. So go ahead and try number 4, and Miss Nealy again is going to look at that later today. Now we're moving into measurement conversions. So to convert means to change. So I'm going to be changing the unit that I'm measuring with, but I'm going to be keeping the same value. That's like the games we used to play earlier where 10 plus 2 has the same value as 12. I'm going to be using an input-output table for this, and so I'm recognizing that I'm going from feet to inches. So I'm going to, it tells me right here 1 foot is 12 inches, but you can scroll back up to the top to where it says length, and I can see again in my conversion chart that 12 inches is equivalent to 1 foot. So if I know 12 inches is 1 foot, I need to figure out how many inches are in 2 feet. So the way I figured out 1 foot is in 12 inches is I would multiply 1 times 12. So to figure out how many inches are in 2 feet, I'm going to do 2 times 12. And I know that 2 times 12 is 24, so there are 24 inches in 2 feet. I can do the same thing with 3 feet. I would do 3 times 12, which is 36. Go ahead and try to fill in the rest of the T-chart. For the next one, I'm going from inches to feet. So when I was going from feet to inches, I was multiplying. Now I'm going to go to inches to feet. I'm going to have to divide. Alright, now moving on to your last slide. Again, we're completing measurement conversions, so we're keeping the same value, just changing the unit of measurement. This time I have yards and inches, so I need to figure out how many inches is in 1 yard. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top. And I can see that Miss Nealy did not give me a perfect conversion of how many inches is in a yard, but she did give you guys enough information to figure out how many inches is in a yard. I know 1 yard is equivalent to 3 feet. Okay, well, I know how many inches are in a foot, and I actually did this conversion on my last slide. So I know if there are 3 feet, it's going to be 36 inches. So I know that 1 yard is equal to 36 inches. Now for 72 inches, I'm starting with inches and I need to go to yards. Last time I went from yards to inches and I was able to multiply. Now I'm going to use the inverse and divide 72 by 36, which would be 2. I want you to try to fill in the last 2 blanks on your input-output table. And I just want you to try your best because this is the first time we're practicing this. You guys have used charts before, and I just want you to give it your best try. Miss Nealy is going to be going through your Google Slides later today, and I just want to get an idea of your understanding what we're trying to do. Again, we're going to practice this for a few weeks, so I don't expect you to get it right away. We're going to be doing this in small groups. You guys can email me if you have questions, and I'll try to clarify for you. We'll also have a Google Meets later today where we can get on and ask questions if you have any. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow, Dragons.